Hello, everyone, and welcome to the OnlyLandFans show. My name is Kendall Lejeune, and our guest today is Arturo Paturzo. Arturo Paturzo embarked on his land business journey in May 2021 after stumbling upon a YouTube video featuring Seth Williams. Hailing from Italy and serving as an officer in the Navy, Arturo was stationed in Turkey at the time. Recognizing the promising opportunities presented by the U.S. real estate market, he swiftly realized that investing in land was a perfect match for his aspirations. The appeal of avoiding concerns like hurricanes, minimal access fees, and the absence of termites, toilets, and tenants really resonated with him. Arturo, thanks so much for joining us. How are you today?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor.
Well, it's so exciting to have you on. I've been wanting to have you on for quite some time now. So welcome to the OnlyLandFans podcast. Let's just jump right in. You're in Italy right now, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. I am in Rome.
Wow. And so it must be late there right now. You're joining us sort of in the midnight hours.
Yeah, it's 1 o'clock in the morning of Thursday morning here.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for joining us, staying up late to be on with us.
No problem.
Tell us a little bit about how did you get started in doing land deals?
Well, I was looking for investment opportunities when I was in Turkey. And I had like a little amount of money saved, very little, like 4 digits little. I've been always fascinated by real estate, but real estate is not really something in Italy. I mean, it can be something, but it's very difficult. It's not as simple as it can be in the US for many reasons. Even so, when you think about real estate, being an Italian living on this other side of the ocean, you still think about houses essentially, which even in the US you need to have money to buy a house, or you need to be able to access the mortgage, which I'm not, because I don't have a social security number, so I cannot have a mortgage. So it's not something like super easy also in the US. Maybe easier and more profitable than in Italy in general, but not simple, not too simple. But I wanted to do something in real estate, not in Italy. And I actually started my land journey in 2021. But in 2020, I had the opportunity to meet a guy in Italy. His name is Emanuele Viscuisen. He has a company, it's called My USA Service. And he was doing from Italy tax liens and tax deeds in the US. So he helped me through his company, which is he provides as a service to open companies in the US. He helped me to open my company in the US. And I started, so in 2020, tax liens, tax deeds for 6 months. And that was not my fit. I was not too much into it. And so after 6 months, the YouTube internet algorithm just proposed me this very cool video from Seth Williams. I suggest everyone, watching it, is the land flipping life cycle on YouTube. And that's what was love at first sight. It was the perfect type of investment for me for the reasons that we mentioned before. And so it was 2021 when I started doing land. And since then, many things have happened in the land biosphere, let's say.
Excellent. And so you mentioned Seth Williams, you mentioned YouTube. How else did you learn? Did you have mentors? Did you have coaches when you first started? How did you learn the land industry?
Yeah, I started at the very beginning. I started just vetting some of them, and at the end, I had a couple, but at the end, Seth Williams was the one that I was feeling like he was not only good material. Of course, I went on Ari Tipser and his his website, but also I like the person very much. And so he looked like not very pushy. Actually, when I mentioned to him that I was considering him and another course, he said that other course is amazing, and I attended to that one. So he was very honest, very open, and that is what I liked. And I met him in person in May. I was in Bloomington for the Dave Dennison London conference, and I had the chance to meet Seth in person, and he's a great person. And so I started with the Seth Williams masterclass, and the rest is history.
That's fantastic. Yeah, Seth is an awesome guy. I really like Seth a lot. Very, very good people, as they say. So, yeah. What types of land deals do you specialize in?
Today, I do mainly rural vacant land and semi-rural vacant land, which means for me 2-3 acres plus. The biggest that I'm dealing with is now I have it's not a flip, actually. We are entitling it is 63 acres in Alabama. But normally it's my buy box goes like between 5 and 25 acres. That is my normal acreage, but it's rural, semi-rural mainly.
Got it. And so are you just flipping these properties, or are you doing any type of smaller subdivides on these properties? What's your strategy?
So my strategy, I would say, is flip the land. So normally as is. Sometimes, there are some states like North Carolina, some other states where it's almost mandatory. It's not, but it's better if you do a perk test on the property. Other states like Mississippi, perk test is not a thing. So depending on the state, I can do some kind of add a little bit of value to the property through this thorough due diligence, let's say. But most of the time, it's just a flip. Most recently, I came across some big tracts, and I said, okay, you know what? I think, without knowing anything about entitlement subdivisions, but I know there was road frontage, it was flat, it was not so far from big towns. I said, this could be probably something good to be subdivided, entitled, and sell to a builder. So I got in touch with a guy whose name is David Hansen. He's a land planner and civil engineer. He's been land entitlements for 35 years, all his life. He doesn't do any flip. He just helped me to draft a sketch plat of this piece of land that I found in Alabama. Was my first one, and didn't ask me anything in return. He just said I wanted to help, and that was. I appreciate it a lot, and I like the job that he did. It's clear that if anyone has the chance to talk to David, he will immediately realize how knowledgeable he is about this kind of stuff. And so I said, you know what, if I would find anything else like this, I will bring it to you for your underwriting. And so now I have another 2 or 3 properties that I'm working with him. They're still I cannot say that I am I am entitling, but I didn't finish any project yet. So I am in the process. I have like 3 or 4 of this with David is taking care of all the work. Actually, what we do is just we bring the deal to him to consider.
Excellent. That is very cool. And I love the whole collaborative effort. I think that's one of the really cool things about the land industry that is pretty unique to the land niche in real estate, is that it's so like teamwork focused, right? Lots of good people ready and willing to help you do a deal, which is very cool. So talk to us about your very first deal. You're in Italy. You're like, I want to get into this real estate thing. I think I'm going to do it in the US. How did you get that very first deal? What was that like?
Oh man, that was like, it looks like 20 years ago, it was just a little more than a couple. So the first deal was my first mailer. It was, I think, in 2021, it was still that time where you could send out like 2,000, 1,500 pieces of, blind offers and get something in return. And I think it was in that ballpark, probably 1,500. And it was Arizona, Pinal County. And there was this guy that, and I didn't even have finished the masterclass, but I am very much I take action, and I think this is something that everyone should. Many times it's just you just postpone because you never feel ready, and you will never be. I mean, so I said, you know what? If I buy some property, I will need to find a way to sell it. So let me buy them. So before I finished the masterclass, I just had learned how to buy a property. And so I sent out this mailer, and this guy called me, and actually the mailer was for one infill lot, and that I wanted to buy for something like was $150 or $200. Yes, was something like that. And he said to me, well, you know what? I have 15 lots in that same area. And then we talked about the price, about the possibility to take all or not. I mean, long story short, I bought all 15 for $300 each, so $5,000. And I sold after a shorter time to two different persons. One is a big investor who sold it like after sometimes to a way higher price, but it doesn't really care. For me, that was the proof that it worked. And so I was super happy and super pumped. The good thing is that it was always self-closing. So I self-closed on the property. I listed the property on Facebook Marketplace, and all the drill. And it was very educational. So I learned a lot of stuff. I learned also of some Arizona regulations that made or could have made difficult to sell afterwards. So I knew the importance. I learned the importance of checking a little bit what are the laws in the state when it comes to sell properties, buy properties. So it's been very, very educational, and it's been something that from there it's been like another property in Arizona, and I stayed for a while in the West, but today it's more on the North Carolina, Pennsylvania, this area in the East.
Excellent. And what I love so much about that is, talking about that proof of concept. The cool thing about it is you didn't just buy one lot. You bought 15 lots for your very first deal. And so you're right. You are a massive action taker, which I love. Yeah. That's so good. That's so good. What were some of the biggest challenges that you had in doing that first deal?
Well, one of the biggest challenges was that being my first deal. Now, consider that I am a Navy officer by nature. I live in Italy, so English is not my first language. So one concern was, what if I look dumb? It can look like stupid, but actually was, what if I don't know the term in English? What if he realized that I'm not American, and you have this kind of, and you realize that with the time, I realized that it's more a misconception. I don't think that the accent is going to, unless probably in some states it can still be a thing. But in general, I would say that today I can say that it's not at all something that is going to make you look like not legit or unprofessional. So the idea of not being, not fit that category of land investor for me, and not being American I was doing something that was totally new to me. So, but is something that you overcome with practice. Once that you start to do it, you realize that, okay, that worked. So probably it was not as it was in my mind. And that's the truth. I mean, so that was probably the biggest concern. That was a psychological concern, of course. And then there were another series of things. I mean, to operate in the US from Italy, you need to set up a structure that allows you to work. So those are objective things that you need to take care of. It's not psychological anymore. Those are things that you have to take care of. But you know that there are ways that you can make it work from Italy.
Excellent. Yeah, that whole mindset piece, I think so many people can resonate with that. I know I certainly can resonate with it. We all tell ourselves stories about, what we think it's going to be like and what we think the sellers are going to be like. And, it's really just the brain trying to keep us from making mistakes and trying to keep us safe and playing small. So I love that you pushed through that and you made it work anyway. Do you still self-fund all of your deals? Hey, land fans, looking for your tribe of serious land investors? Join thousands of your fellow land lovers in the OnlyLandFans Facebook group. We're talking real deals, expert strategies, and game-changing connections you won't find anywhere else. This isn't just another real estate group. This is the community where land investors come to level up. Join us at OnlyLandFansGroup.com and join the conversation today. That's OnlyLandFansGroup.com. See you there.
No, normally what I do is if it is below 10,000, 12,000 or so, I could think to use my own money or to use a loan from, there is some land investor that is loaning money. But most of the time, every time that I can, I use other people's money and joint venture. Now, if you know that there is this requirement that totally understandable, normally is the 50% loan to value. So it's you need to be able to buy at 50%. It's also true that if you can buy it depends on the price point, because if you can buy a property that is worth 150,000 and you can buy it for 90,000, I mean, will still be a good deal for me at least, So, but of course, a funder is going probably to not pass to not fund the deal. So what I do is, in these cases, if I see a very good deal and but I cannot buy at the price that I think the funder would like it, then I always propose double closing. So for me, it's a kind of a backup plan. So to my first offer, and many times it works. I'm very open, so I don't hide anything. I just say, what is this price? Is the price that you want? Cool. I'm happy to give you that, but you need to give me like 4 or 5 months. During this time, I will market the property, will find my buyer. Once that I find my buyer, I will buy from you. So it's not an assignment of contract or anything. And once that you explain things to people, you will be surprised on how many times they say, okay, it's cool, just let me have my money.
Yeah, at the end of the day, they just want the money. So I love that you're transparent with them. They know what to expect, so there's no surprises. I think that's when people start freaking out. But, like you said, if they get their money, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
How it happens. Nice. So what advice would you have for someone who, wants to get into this industry and they may not have a ton of money to be able to do deals? What would you tell them in terms of how they can go about actually doing deals with very limited money?
Well, the thing that I suggest is start with what you have. That you can find also. I heard about people looking, for example, Jaren Barnes is a supporter of this idea of finding properties on Zillow, like, you know, those that are listed there since like forever, and or Craigslist or whatever, and make an offer. And I never did, so that is a way. Another way is just start slow and low. I mean, just send out the amount of letters that you can send out. If you have, you know, how we say, you have time or you have money. So if you don't have enough money, you have some more time, just learn how to manage one of those platforms, from like launch control, which is not probably super cheap. I use Aria Reply for my texting, which is super cheap. That would allow you to save money, but you know, Aria Reply requires like quite a steep learning curve. Has a steep learning curve. It's not difficult. It's not rocket science, but it takes time to learn a little bit, to master it. But allows you to save money. So that is a good way to reach out to a lot of people, spending a small amount of money. Just being aware of the regulations, and it's for the people that should start now with texting. And most of all, it's really true that as long as you find a good deal, you will have a lot of people who wants to pay for you that deal. So you don't have to be concerned about, I don't have the money to buy the property. So just tailor your marketing according to the budget that you have, and then find a greater deal, and you know, work on this with someone who can fund it. And as soon as you get your 50% of the cake, then you put into the business. You don't pay yourself. You just put everything into the business, compound effect, and you grow that way.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic advice. Really, really good. You mentioned marketing earlier. Let's talk about marketing. What's your favorite marketing methods? What are you using right now to actually market for deals?
Yeah. So actually, I started texting in May. Before that, I was just doing mailing, mainly neutral letters. In May, I started texting, and how I work at today this way. I download my list from my data provider, and once that I download my list, I put it into the skip trace. I skip trace the prospects. I find those who have a mobile and those who have not a mobile. So those who have not a mobile, they go on another list. Those that have a mobile, then they go into the TCPA litigator scrub, and I see if they are do not call, state do not call, federal do not call, TCPA litigator or whatever. And so all those that are, let's say, the bad guys, they go along with those that have not a mobile. Okay, so I have two main lists at the end: one of people eligible to be taxed, and one of people who are not, because they don't have a mobile or they are bad guys. So the first one, they are taxed, and I send text to them. And the second one, they are mailed. And since July, I started to split test my mailers. I normally send half neutral letter and half blind offers. I took back the blind offers and trying to see if they can work in the markets where I am now.
That's very cool. Can you talk a little bit more about the sequence for your marketing? Do you send one text and then if they don't respond, it's over? Or what does your follow-up process look like?
So I have a drip campaign of IBI reply differently from launch control. Launch control allows you to send one text to one person every 30 days, so every month. Okay, IBI reply has not this limitation. You can like it or not. Someone will say, well, it's risky, whatever. But so what my drip campaign is 7 texts in 1 month to each person who doesn't answer to the previous text. So There is first text, after 3 days second, after 4 days the third, and so on and so on. The good thing of, and if they don't answer at all, they go into my CRM, like not answered. At the very beginning, I was considering to take these people and put them along and mail them, right? But then I realized that most of them are just people who are not interested. I mean, they don't answer not because they don't see 7 messages, just because they don't want to deal with you. So I decided they are there in my CRM, but they are dead ends. The good thing of Aria Reply compared to Launch Control, besides the price, in my opinion, of course, is that Aria Reply is very much automated. So even if I have a VA in the Philippines working for me, she actually is very involved in jumping on the first call with the guys that answer and want to talk to me. But she doesn't manage the pure texting thing, because the messages goes out automatically. And also there are also many possibilities to set how to reply depending on the words that the system recognizes in the answer of the seller. So actually is, as I said, is not, you need to engineer the system a little bit. So it takes some time. To me, it took like 2 months that I stopped everything. I stopped marketing, I stopped everything. And I just started it. But consider also that I have a day job. So if someone can do this full time, probably would take way less than that. So yeah, the basic is it's 7 texts in 1 month, and also the initial text and all the drips, the following drips, they are different. So I can select which type. For example, I have one text, the first text, you want to get an answer from them. That is the first thing. That must be possibly a yes. So I have one entry message that is, we saw this property in blah, blah, blah. Is it really XYZ acres? And so, or are you really the owner? Or something like that. So I have several starting messages and several follow-ups depending on the starting messages. So this is how I work with texting.
Yeah, that's great. And how many texts are you sending out a day or a week?
Yeah, so that is actually what is a little bit frustrating for me of texting. I'm sending out between 4,000 and 6,000 a month, which is not a lot.
Right.
But to have those 4,000, 6,000, because of the TCPA litigators scrubs, because of those with no mobile, I have to download something like 15,000 records, which means that those that I'm not taxed, so the remaining 10,000 of the 15,000, okay, the remaining 10,000 are people that I should mail. So if someone wants to apply this kind of the same methodology that I use, thinking to save money, actually you really don't, because yes, you send text 5,000, but after you have 10,000 that you can decide. I mean, I don't send mailers, and so yeah, okay, you don't send mailers, okay, but if you want to send mailer, you have to send mailer for 10,000. And unless you were doing more than 10,000 before starting texting, you're going to spend more. There is people, I was talking with Ajay Sharma. There is people who does texting, he uses launch control, and he doesn't care about all the rest. He does just texting. All the rest is just, in the bin. He's not his problem, which is an approach, can be an approach also.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. But that's a really great point. One of the attractive things about texting is it is so cheap in comparison to mail, right? So you can send a text for a penny or a couple of pennies compared to a mailer that's 55, 65 cents, sometimes $1. But you will eat through a lot of data to do that, right? It'll chew up a lot of your data. That's really interesting. So you mentioned earlier that you're you're kind of specializing in rural vacant land that's 2 to 3 acres. What other criteria for deals do you look for when you're trying to figure out if this is a deal that you want to do?
Listen up, land fans. This is huge. We're bringing you the one and only Pace Morby, star of A&E's Triple Digit Flip and the mastermind behind $450 million in real estate deals. He's coming to our virtual meetup on Thursday, December 5th to share how he's applying his creative financing genius to land deals. Head to olfmeetup.com to save your spot today. That's olfmeetup.com. This is the kind of opportunity that changes everything.
Well, consider that if you need to download many records to get those 5,000 or whatever, and I'm considering also now by November I consider to duplicate or triplicate my marketing effort. So I will need to download many more data. You cannot be too picky. Okay, so I don't use so many filters. I target everything that is commercial, industrial, agricultural, residential, 2+, possibly sold before, let's say, not sold in the last 7-10 years. And if I can make it, I love to target out of state, out of county owner, but this is difficult. Once that you use that filter, you cut out a lot of people, and actually you have to, to have like 5,000 records in North Carolina, you have to target all North Carolina. So it's it's impossible if you use that filter. So these are the main, let's say.
Excellent. And how do you pick your target market? Like, how do you pick which area you're going to be focusing on?
Well, I normally try to, the thing that mainly drive my decision to pick a county and the state also, but mainly a county, is the presence of activity. So there must be like a balanced sold to for sale ratio. I don't target areas where sold are, super hot areas where sold are way higher than for sale. I take as a reference time 12 months. So everything that has been sold in the last 12 months. And as many of us, I check all that yellow little dots on Zillow, and I see and I try to compare. I have a spreadsheet like probably most of us has, when you do the ratio and you see the ratio and you pile up, and then I decide those that are there is no activity at all, and those that are too hot, I exclude. I take what is in the middle.
Excellent. And so whenever you are running a campaign, when you're targeting these market areas, is it, you mentioned 2+ acres, is it 2 all the way up? Like there's no maximum, or is there a maximum?
Yes, normally I don't put any maximum. If I find someone who wants to sell me like 1,000 acres, I will find a way to buy it.
We'll make it happen. Bring it on.
I find it. I find someone. Don't worry. I'm sure that there is people. If I can buy a good price, I'm sure that there is people that wants to do that. So
for sure.
Yeah, I don't put any limit, but it never happened. Yeah, the most that happened to me was a guy that reached out to me. He had like 156 acres. I was not able to buy, but that was the biggest piece that was offered to me.
Nice. And how many contracts are you getting a month? Say, if you're sending out 4,000 to 6,000 texts a month, how many contracts are you getting out of that?
Well, between the text and the mailer, today I would say that three contracts out every month, more or less.
Very good. And what's the average spread on those deals?
Well, consider that I try to, for me, a deal is acceptable when I can put into my pocket after that I have split the profit with my funder, in case I have one, $10,000. So if I can do that, for me, it's because I have to factor title companies and commission fees for the agents and all this kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's fantastic. And so jumping over to the dispo side now, you mentioned agents. How do you go about selling your properties?
Yeah. So if it is, I like direct purchases. So if I can, I always buy the property because I think that I have more control over the deal. I don't have to look at the watch. Oh God, it's 2 months, 1 month. Now I have to sell the. No, I don't like that. So my first offer is always for cash offer for direct purchase. So I'm buying your property. And if I buy the property and I can make it to buy the property, of course, for an offer that is never more than 50%, hopefully less than that, of the market value, then in that case, the first thing that I do once I have the purchase agreement signed, I send it to the attorney or title company that I have already investigated before I start to work in a certain county or state, and I also pass it to the land agent that has helped me to understand the market value, because I always use land agents to review my offer. And also for the land agent, as for the title company / attorney, I always vet them before I started to work in a state. So I have a kind of team in place of people that I already know that they are there to help me once that I need them. And so I delegate all the disposition to third parties that knows how to do the job. And my business is actually 99% acquisition. So I just buy properties. This is if it is a direct purchase. If it is a double closing, because I can make it to buy at the price that I have in mind, and I have to increase a little bit my offer. So in that case, it doesn't happen often, but it can happen. In that case, I have a dear friend of mine who always has some spots on land.com and helped me to put the property on land.com. This friend is Yazir Liliston. For those who need help, Yazir is a great guy. And I use flat fee services. Normally it's brokerless. I also put on Marketplace, even if Marketplace banned me from Facebook. I was banned from Facebook Marketplace for a long time. I tried to be reinstated many times, and then the answer was always no. And 6 months ago, I stopped to ask. And without doing anything, like 1 month ago, they decided to reinstate me. So, but I decided I cannot base my disposition on Facebook Marketplace, so because I don't know if it works or not. So I'm trying to focus a little more on land.com, those flat fee services. And I can also use Marketplace. What I'm doing now is using people who is in the US, because I think that, working with a VPN can affect, Facebook can detect some way. This is my belief. So using people that is in the US and cut a little percent of the profit to them, like 2%, and have the possibility to use them on their marketplace and all the groups, land groups that you can find on Facebook. So these are the three main channels. Of course, I always hire, not always, but most of the time being not infill lots, but like semi-rural land, I always hire a drone pilot on Droner.io, and that's pretty much it.
Excellent. And so when you're dealing with these agents to do the dispo, What's your commission percentage that you offer them?
Well, I am a big believer that, I can arrive to offer 10% easily, not a problem. What I pay, the most that I pay that today is 8%, and it was in Arizona. And the thing that I normally, the way that I sell the thing is, I say to the agent during my acquisition side, I get in touch with the agent and I say, you know what, I have this property, and I've been contacted from the seller, so it's an off-market property. I'm trying to buy it. If you can help me, I go to the agent that I already run my comps, so I have an idea of what it could be worth, and I say to him, I say, I can share my comps, it's not a problem, but if you can review them or you can tell me what you think is the price of the property, I would be happy to use you as seller's agent on the disposition side of the deal. And I don't even ask the commission because I don't really care. I know that I don't think that there is anyone charging more than 10%, but it's for me, it's just I need them. So, and if they do well their job, I'm very happy to pay them. I normally I started to see the first place where I go and look for an agent is Whitetail Properties. But lately I found also some good guy on Zillow, I can tell you. You have to look at the kind of listings that they sold, the picture that they took, and you understand if the listing that they write, and you understand if they can be a good fit for you or not.
Excellent. No, that's really good advice. Do you flip land for, do you ever do note deals where you're actually creating a note on the properties?
This is a great question. No, never. Never. And I would be very much into it. I think I would love it. I love cash flow, and that would be a great way to do. I can also tell you that it doesn't scare me, but I am aware that probably to request, especially at the beginning, it's not probably as simple as a simple cash deal where I know how to do it. It requires a little things you have to set up, the payment processor and the promissory note and whatever it is. So I know the theory. It's very well explained in this course from Seth, but I never had the chance. I normally, especially if it is double close, but normally I leave this like an open option to my buyers. So if you want to, you can. Lately, I was also considering buying with the seller financing. That seems to be something that is coming out now. It's talking a lot about this buying with seller financing. So I don't know. It's something that I'm going to explore for sure.
Yeah. Well, keep us posted. I'd love to hear about your journey to the creative finance space. So, what are some of your main deal breakers? If a property comes across your desk and you look at it, and what are some red flags that you say, okay, definitely this is not going to be a deal?
For me, is access. So if there is no access, I know that there is people who specializes in landlocked property, other people that buys everything that they can find. For me, access is a no-go. Wetlands, it depends. And same is for a flood zone. I mean, if you buy in a flood zone I don't know, some place where flood zones are not a thing, where there is no flood zone, then it's going to affect negatively your property. But if you buy in a flood zone in Florida, probably, and you look around and it's a flood zone, but there are houses all around, so probably there is a way to make it work. So normally flood zones are not a deal breaker. So I don't look just at how much is in flood zone, but also where am I working? And wetlands is more of a problem, even if also wetlands if normally the idea that I have, if it is more than 50-60% wetlands, is a no-go. But I realized that is very much residential oriented. If you're going to buy a recreational property, that might not be a fact. There are areas in Pennsylvania where people is looking for wetlands to go and do duck hunting or other kind of stuff. So I would not exclude, like, it's 60%. Oh, out. Well, let me see it. Yeah. So
that's good.
But these are the three things: wetlands, flood zone, access, and of course, topography also is another thing. The four.
Excellent. And so, you've been in the market now for 2 years, coming on 3 years. And there's lots of talk about the shifting market and the market shifts and this and that and pivoting. Where do you see the market going now, and how have you adjusted what you do in your business to be able to thrive in that market shift?
Yeah, I think that people shouldn't be terrified, let's say. Maybe should take into consideration but not be terrified by competition. So this is the first thing. The market, as I was saying before, in 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you can send out, and for what I hear before was even better. I mean, you could send out like a bunch of letters and get a lot of deals. And today is not that way. So you have to, first of all, choose wisely your market. And another thing that you need to work for is, I don't know, I know that you read Alex Hormozi, right? So it's about adding value to your offer. And this is true on both the acquisition and the disposition side. Now, there is the $100 million offer of Alex Hormozi is, if someone reads it, could very much look at it like apply it to the disposition side. How can I sell this and make an offer so good that people feel stupid saying no? But if you think about it, you can also apply it on the acquisition side, because at the end, when you buy a property, what you do is you sell your offer to the seller. So it's totally applicable also on the acquisition side. And being my business 99% acquisition, I try as much as possible to add value to the offer that I try to sell to my seller. And everyone has to find his own way to add value, but can be also a little thing. For example, for me, in my letter, I have I understand it can be a little thing, and sometimes someone says to me, well, if you think that I can do for that, you're stupid. But I in my letter, I say, you know what, if you sell your property to me, I can send to you Amazon Boucher for $250 at closing, or you can choose a hotel gift card for same amount. And so at closing, I send this as a token of appreciation. This is a little way to add value, but it's just an example. So it's you need to find a way to add value, which can be also just, the way that you present your letter. So how you differentiate your letter. When they have like 10 letters, one pile upon the other, how can make your letter more appealing? They have to take one. Why they should take yours? Could be the color, could be something that is written there. And also the way that you entertain the relation with the seller is very important. I am a big believer of people is not grumpy by nature, in my opinion. Sometimes they are just, they can have a day, and a no day, day off, or the day that is not very good. But if you can talk in the right way and make make them understand that you're not trying to steal their property. I mean, you're just offering something, a service at the end. If they want to take advantage of it and everyone can be happy about it, at the end we look for motivated seller, right? So, and if they're not motivated, sorry, my mistake, and that's it. But the way that you talk to people also is a little way to add value to your offer and differentiate you from other people for that consider this just like it is a business, but is like more impersonal, let's say. I make it a little more personal every time that I talk to a seller.
I love that. Looking through the lens of how can I add value? Because I think, it can be really easy to forget that you're dealing with customers, especially on the acquisition side. I think so many people, I have fallen into this trap when I was first starting as well, where it's just about the deal and trying to make the numbers work. But in actuality, it is really just about people. It's a people business. And so if you can add value to someone and they know you and they like you and they feel like they can trust you, then that's a huge value add. And it really differentiates you from the other 64 letters that they might have got on that property, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Love that. So let's talk a little bit about new people in the industry. If someone's listening to this and they're like, you know what, I'm going to follow in Arturo's footsteps. I am not in the US, I'm in Spain or I'm in Germany or something. I want to do deals in the US. What are some of the activities or actions that you would consider to be necessary to move the needle for new people overseas wanting to do deals in the US?
Yeah. So as I was mentioning at the beginning, the biggest thing is you need to have a structure. The best thing is to duplicate yourself in the US. So you need to have someone in the US that act as you would act in the US. Okay. So to do that, I use a person that is the manager of my company. His name is Tony Durante. He's an amazing person. Has become a friend. He's Italian, but he's been living in Florida since many years, now a few years. And he's married to a US girl, has a kid, and blah, blah, blah. And what he does, actually, not only he helped me to my, day by day things. Like today, for example, I had to send some closing documents to Mississippi, and he went to the post office and, went to take the cashier checks to the bank and all this kind of stuff. But he also can help and has a company that allows you to start your business, land business mainly. For me, it's a land business, but he works also for other type of business from Italy to the US. So he takes care of everything and open the company, open the bank account, and all this kind of stuff. And he works very well. He is very reliable. He is also very helpful because in my operating agreement, he can sign on behalf of the company. So every time that I need a wet signature on a paper, he is in charge. And if someone, I don't know who is this Tony Durante, to put on the operating agreement, you can still do a power of attorney to him, and he would be happy. So on a case by case. So the first thing is to find a person like Tony that can duplicate you there, because you need to open a bank account without being in the US. There are some online banks that you can do, like Mercury, for example. You can do from everywhere without being in the US. But if you want a physical bank account, that for me is the best, because I like to talk to people if I have a problem. Then he can do that. I have bank accounts in Truist. For example, I had Bank of America before. And that is one thing. And then you have to, but this is not about the architecture, let's say, of your business. It's more about the normal struggle of the business. You have to take into account the time zone, because if you have someone that says, I I cannot do it, it's too late, it's too early, or whatever, it can become a problem. But normally when you start a business, you take into account the hustle and you do what you have to do to make it work. So that shouldn't be a problem. If it is a problem, you should question yourself and say, I'm not sure that. Probably that is the good thing for me. So these are the things. Another thing, of course, is I suggest to whoever does not speak, I don't want to say a good, I don't think that my English is good. It's good enough to talk to other people on the phone, independently from their accent, even if I can tell you that when I have to talk with people in Mississippi, Louisiana, sometimes it's a struggle. Sometimes it's a big, but in general, you need to speak like a decent English. So if you think that you can do this from Italy, from everywhere, not speaking English, it's or doing like 2 hours work a week, you don't. You need to put in the work. You need to speak English. You need to be. You must want it. So if you want it, you find a way to do it. From the structural standpoint, I would suggest to find a person like Tony. He can take care of everything. Of course, you also have to take into account the taxes that are involved because you're not American. So the best thing is to find a person in the US that is specialized in dealing with foreigners opening companies. And there is this great guy, his name is James Baker. He's American. And he's a CPA. He is a big CPA. He has also a YouTube channel. If you go on YouTube, you find him. And he is specialized in helping foreigners to open companies in the US. So he knows everything about taxes. And he has been also a land investor with the Land Peak program. So he knows our business also very well. And beside the CPA in the US, it's better if you also have someone in Italy that advise you that must know about international taxations and this kind of stuff. But other than that, this is it, I think.
Love that. So much great information with that. Thank you for sharing. So shifting gears a little bit, what are some of your favorite things about the land business?
Well, I like the land business for so many reasons. I don't think that I will, I think that I will always do land. I think that at some point, probably I will start to diversify. There is a lot of people that talks about, you need to diversification. And so they do like cryptocurrencies and stocks and real estate. No, I'm more like, I do real estate. One product, one channel, one avatar, you remember? So yes. this is for me, it's land. I do flips. Now I'm looking a little bit at entitlements, but it's still land for me. At some point, probably I will start to diversify, but within the realm of real estate. So I will start to look at something else. It could be storage facilities, multifamily, sublease of some kind of Airbnb, whatever. But at the moment, my focus is just land, and I think that that is the best way to master your niche before you look at something else, and even more for those that, like me, have a limited amount of time during the day and the night to work on their endeavor. That if you started to do 2,000 things in the little time that you have available, you risk to do nothing. So.
That's very good. Yeah, that's really good insight. And so, in your opinion, what is something that not many people are talking about in the land industry right now that we should be talking about?
Well, I think there is a lot of people that talks almost about everything, everywhere, about land. One thing that should be talked about probably is where are we going with marketing. I am very much into, for me, like in the 80-20 theory, let's say, Pareto principle, the 20 that provides me the 80% of my outcome is the acquisition. And into the acquisition, the 20 that provide the best of my acquisition is marketing, of course. So marketing is really the main cog of the old mechanism, of the old engine for me. And I think that we should question, where are we going marketing-wise? Because mailers, that, in my opinion, mailers are still the most effective way. So I do texting, but I still think that mailing are the most effective way to convert a deal, not to have people contacting you. So I'm not talking about response rate. I'm talking about conversion rate now. The best way to convert for me, according to the data that I have on my KPI since May, which is not a big reference in time, but I started now to run my numbers, and I see that mailers are still the best way for me to convert the deals. But it's also true that the cost of mailing is going up, and it's not going down anytime in the future. So where are we going? At some point, will we be able to send mailers and still give sense to this channel? Or if not, what should we do? Probably texting. I don't know, probably texting. And that is the reason why I started to do texting. Now, with texting, there are another issue, that is, what about the regulations? Are they going to be stricter and stricter and stricter? What the CPA. So there are things that should be discussed, and I don't know if there is an answer though. So probably we will see. And the risk is that it will become easier to do this business for people who has the money to send out mailers, essentially. So the risk is that it will become a business not for everyone. And this is my biggest fear. But we will see.
Yeah, that's a really good insight. And I agree. It's just the future of our marketing is a little iffy. And then you throw AI into the mix and who knows, right? Like it.
Yeah,
Wild West.
It's crazy. Yeah, so, AI is incredible.
It really is. Are you using it in your business right now for anything?
Oh, well, I did something very cool, and I was in a mastermind just a few hours ago, and I talked with the guys that were there, and I say to you too, also do this exercise, and this is what I did actually. So don't do it, but this, you will understand, right? So what I did is I took my original letter. Okay, I don't know a lot about AI, so a dumb guy like me who doesn't know anything about AI takes ChatGPT and use it to copyright something. This is the easiest way to use it. So I took the letter and I said, okay, now take this letter and rewrite it as Alex Hormozi would write it. And came out something that it was Alex Hormozi writing. Wow. In a few seconds. And then I said, okay, now write it as Grant Cardone would write it. It was a little aggressive, but it's Grant Cardone, right? So it wrote it exactly as Grant Cardone. And then Jordan Belfort, And then I said, okay, now merge the three and take out something that I can use. And it came out with a very nice product that I'm still using today. So don't do it, because otherwise we will send out the same.
No one says the same thing.
Everyone is receiving Alex Hormozi. But this is an example of how you can use. So if you have a person, you can also, another way that I read on Twitter this, another way is there are 2 or 3 that are the best, considered the best copywriter in the world today. I don't remember the names, but you can find them easily. And you can ask to write it as this person would write it, So ChatGPT can do things. I know people who use it for, to scrub data, for a lot of stuff. And Aria Reply, actually, embedded in Array Reply. This is a function. I'm not using it yet. I'm not even sure that I will. Has a embedded AI. It's called the Riva AI. And this is an AI embedded in Array Reply that allows you to be able to not use at all your VA, so to replace the VA, and it's totally free into Array Reply. So the only thing you need to have the ChatGPT with the API, which means you have to pay those $20 to ChatGPT to have the pro version. But other than that, there is no additional cost for Array Reply, and it allows you to. And I saw some demonstrations, and it's impressive because it answers in a way that is even better. I wouldn't have answered in that way, and it's great, and it can learn. So you can train her. I mean, I say her because for me AI is female. I don't know why. You can train her, and it's a very, very cool feature into Array Reply. So
that's very cool.
Yeah, it's nice. But yeah, AI, the impact of the AI, that is another thing that for sure is not discussed enough. I think that should be like a mastermind or something, like a webinar, a venue where land investors get there and just talk about AI. It's just, let's see what we can come out with. And Absolutely. Then you take some tech guys, tech geek, and you create something. I don't know.
Make it happen. Well, that's a really cool. I'm going to play around with ChatGPT just to take a look at the different styles of letters we can create. That's a really cool tip for sharing. I won't do yours exactly, but we'll
yeah, exactly. Choose other people.
Nice. So, if you could go back and tell yourself 3 pieces of advice when you were brand new starting out into the land space, what would they be?
Okay, so the first one is not that I need it, but it's something that I feel to suggest to whoever is starting is, as I was saying at the beginning, is take action. Do not wait to know everything, because you will never know everything. I learn things every day. And so the first thing is take action. The second thing is use as much as possible other people's money. Don't waste your money in buying properties. That is, you are happy. You have this immediate happiness due to the fact that you have probably a big chunk, of money coming in, but you have spent all the money that you should have allocated to marketing. And so this is not good, in my opinion. And another thing, and probably the most important one, is absorb knowledge. So you have to study, you have to learn, you must be passionate about what you do. And I read a lot. I consume content on. I don't have a television. I have that one here is a projector, and I have a wall there where I see like YouTube videos on my wall about business, about land. They are very, very useful, not necessarily about land, but just about business. They keep me in the mindset. At the end, I think that to be focused and to be a little bit, there is this book from Grant Cardone, is Be Obsessed or Be Average. And that is really true. You need to be a little bit obsessed. So, which means also to make choices like, as I was mentioning, if you are, I want to go to bed, I'm too tired, or no, I need to go out with my girlfriend. I mean, very, very understandable, but sometimes you have to say no. I have to work, and that's it. So you must be committed enough to make it work. And it works because, I don't come from real estate. I am not a native English speaker. I am doing this in this moment from Italy, and I do it. And so everyone can do it, actually. So it's something that for those who started to not feel like, oh, it didn't work. So no, yeah, I quit. Just stay there, do the boring work for enough time to make it work, and you will see success. So this is the third piece: be committed and be motivated, absorb knowledge. Yeah, that is a good thing to do.
Gold nuggets right there. That's so good. That is so good. What makes you feel inspired or like your best self?
Sorry, say again?
What makes you feel inspired or like your best self?
I mean, what or who?
Either.
Okay. So the inspiration that I get, I don't need, let's say, I don't need like someone that I need to follow to be inspired. I can inspire myself. I do deals and I pumped and I put more work and I go on. So in this sense, I don't have like a reference or someone that I look like, ooh, like this. I need to do this. I try to catch things from many people. So I steal things from many land investors. There are people that like Seth Williams, of course, and Justin Sliva and Dave Denniston. I met these guys. I had this opportunity to attend the Dave Denniston London conference that has been an amazing event for me. It was like a couple of days, 3 days that I full immersion, like not only during the day, but also we were going out to dinner and we were all obsessed. So you can imagine this group of, land geeks going around in town and always talking about land. So it's been very, very nice. And other than that, and also because I think that everyone does things in a different way, and everyone make it work. These big names, Callum Faulkner. But if I have to take one person that I look at and I say, when I want to be like him or her, is Hormozi. Alex Hormozi is really, for me, the prototype of businessman. Is very much, I think it doesn't belong to this world. Is one of these guys like Elon Musk, they are wired differently. You know what I mean.
Yes.
He is very, is very different from most of the people in the world. But business-wise, I think he is everything that he says. And for the people who don't know him, just look for him on YouTube. He is really, what he says and the way that he says, you can learn a lot of stuff just by the way that he says the things in his videos. And there was the launch of $100 million leads, and I attended to that. It was an online event, and it was fascinating the way that he sold the book and the work that he did. So there is a lot to learn from him. So probably as an inspiration, let's say, this is more like an example. It's where I would like to arrive.
Love that. Yeah, definitely an impactful person for sure. Yeah, absolutely. And you can, like you said, you can learn a lot, not only from what he teaches, but how he teaches it, and seeing how he goes about things. Studying the how is really very cool too. Really neat. So what would you consider to be your superpower?
Well, my superpower, I think, is I can make people feel comfortable when they talk to me. This question was asked to me in another podcast from Seth, and actually is when I talk to people, as I was saying, I don't think that people is grumpy by default. So if you can make it a little more personal, do the little joke while you talk with them. Of course, you need to understand there are always some boundaries, right? You don't have to be like the joker, or you must be professional, but you still can be like a nice person, make the little joke, and get that, hear the smile on the other side of the phone, which set the condition for the good environment where the deal can be achieved. So if you can create the environment by just being nice, you're not cheating. I mean, I am quite a happy person every moment of the day. So I think that there is always a reason to smile. So I like to keep it very, very personal, and it's not just, okay, I am Artie with blah, blah, blah. This is my offer. This is the number. What do you think? It's not that way for me. I try to be a little more involved. And so feel people more comfortable and in the good place is a kind of superpower that I recognize I may have.
Yeah, that's really important. That's really important. How you make people feel is a big one.
I think so.
I don't think that many people really think about that. Like, what is the experience that people have with you whenever they meet you? So that's very cool. What's your biggest passion?
Well, besides land.
Besides land.
Yeah. Okay. So besides land, I love to travel. And I try to travel as much as possible. I I had in my past, when I was a kid, I was skiing, alpine skiing, quite good level, and that has been a passion for a long time. Then I had to stop, and then I started recently. But let's say sports in general also is my thing. But if I have to choose between the two, I would say travel. I think that it opens your mind in a way that few other things can do. I was lucky enough to live in a few places due to my military job, and I can tell you that I saw some horrible things, I saw beautiful things, and they both left something in me that today I'm grateful that I have. So I was lucky because there is people that cannot even feel what I felt when I saw this thing. So I consider myself lucky.
Yeah, that's incredible. Favorite place you've ever traveled?
What did I say again?
Favorite place you've ever
well, I've traveled in many places. I've lived in few others. One of the places that is in my heart is Turkey. Turkey has been it's been amazing. The persons, people, food, the villages, everything was amazing. Another place that I liked was a place off the coast of Malaysia. It's called the Lumut, and it's a little island there. I don't think it's even in the chart, but that was an amazing island. There were only mangroves and monkeys in it. Beautiful sea, and that was many years ago though, and is still in my heart. Also that place.
Wow, that sounds like some incredible experiences. That's awesome. That's fantastic. Well, Arturo, I want to thank you so much for giving to us today. You've been so kind with sharing your knowledge and your experience. How can we give back to you right now? Are there any resources or connections you're looking for right now?
Actually, no. I mean, just if the people want to get in touch with me, they can find me on Facebook with my name and my surname. So Arturo Paturzo. And that is the easiest way to get in touch with me. If there is people among the audience who wants to know more about how to open the company, wants to be advised, I can introduce to Tony and whatever, just let me know. Just hit me a message on Facebook and we can go from there. I would be happy to help.
Excellent. That is so generous. Thank you so much for that. Arturo, thank you for joining us. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you to you.
Questions. Have a great evening, Arturo. We'll talk to you guys soon. Be careful. Take care. Bye-bye. If you're interested in hearing from other seven-figure land flippers about how they've started and run their businesses, then join us at OnlyLandFans.com. Looking forward to seeing you there.